Hey guys, Josh here, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you everything you need to know about treasure groves, these randomly generated dungeons in Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. How to unlock them, what are they good for, some useful tips. If you learned something, leave a like on the video and let's begin. So before you can explore treasure groves, you first need treasure grove saplings. You will find your first one at the end of chapter 4, and until you've reached that point, you won't be able to enter these dungeons, even if you're playing online with a friend that unlocked them already. After finishing chapter 4, you will learn that one sapling can only generate one grove, so you will need a lot more. A fast way to get them is by defeating mimics in Janormosia. You can also buy them from the Dawn for 25 cash nuts each. And with the next update 1.2.1 that is releasing in a few hours from now, the host should now be receiving one sapling each time a grove is completed in multiplayer. So they're not too difficult to acquire, and you can plant one sapling at a time here in the top left corner of your base camp. Before entering a grove, you can check its status, where you'll be able to see the type, which could be harvesting, logging, mining, fishing, or monster, and that determines what kind of rooms will be more common. If you put your cursor over the very last room with the boss, you will see not only the boss in question, but also all of the possible loot from which you will receive a few random items. On the map, you will also see if there are any rare rooms, and we'll go over each one of these later in the video. If you don't like a grove for any reason, you can replant to generate a new one, but doing so will consume a sapling each time. When you're ready, it's quite simple. You go in, you choose a first room, you clear the challenge they give you, and you move on to the next room until you make it to the boss. There are 10 floors per grove, and just so you know the proper terminology and you're not confused later, on each floor you go back in time 10 years. So the first grove is from 0 to 100 years, and there monsters and resources will be around level 25. You may have noticed how there is a timer in the top right corner of the screen, but it doesn't matter. Don't stress about it. If you run out of time, it will tell you you failed, which sounds scary, but you'll actually get to keep everything you found, and you'll be able to go back to the dungeon, the timer will reset to an hour, and all of your progress in the map will still be there. You will just have to redo the room you couldn't complete. If you open the map and leave the expedition from there, it's the same thing. So if you're running out of time, you realize you forgot some potions, you need to craft something, maybe you just need to take a break because you've been playing this game for 12 hours straight, you can leave and come back to the dungeon at any time without penalty. I'm not sure if this is intentional or an oversight from the developers. I truly don't understand why there's a timer, but at least right now, that's how it works, and if it ever changes, I will make sure to leave a pinned comment to let you know. While you won't be able to go back to rooms you've already cleared, as long as you don't defeat the boss, you can go up and down on the map and do any of the other rooms. Whenever you're ready to move on, you defeat the boss, you receive your loot, that grove is done, you can't go back, but you can plant a new sapling. Now you will have the choice to either start from the present, same thing with floors going from years 0 to 100, or you can start from 100 years ago, where monsters and resources will be around level 30 instead of 25. Then as you complete those, you will unlock 200 years, 300 years, all the way to 900 years, where resources will go up to level 100. That is the current maximum, so this last run you will start it at 900, end it at 1000, but who knows if that will be expanded in the future with DLC or something like that. If you are playing by yourself, these last floors will be quite tricky without the right level and equipment, but not impossible. Luckily, you can have up to 3 buddies with you. This is a great place to level them up, just make sure they have equipment, and you can change your party formation whenever you're at a gate about to go down to the next floor. So if you're heading to a monster floor, you can bring buddies with combat lives. If you're going to a logging floor, you can switch to those with woodcutter lives. You get the idea, so it does help to have a lot of various buddies if you're planning to do this single player. Upon completing a grove, not only do you get the loot from the boss, but if you started between 0 and 300 years, you get 1 goddess fruit. Between 400 and 700, you get 2. And with the 800 and 900 years, you get 3. Goddess fruits are used as a currency to buy items from Marco, such as new eyes and hairstyles, color variations for your buddies, and a few other unique items and recipes. But if you're playing in multiplayer, things get a lot more interesting. as everyone also receives 1 extra fruit per player in the party. So at 0 years, 4 players would get 4 fruits each, starting from 405 fruits each, and at 806 fruits per player, making the grind so much faster. It's also worth noting that in the dungeon, all resources can be obtained by all players, so if there's a treasure chest, everyone can get something from that chest. You are not competing for anything. Plus, you receive experience points every time a player does something, so you will level up faster, and in most cases, humans are a lot more efficient than the NPC buddies. I found that to complete a grove in single player, typically you have to be around the same level as the resources at least, but in multiplayer we were able to get to 1000 years with 4 level 80 characters, so we were about 20 levels under everything else. It was still a challenge, but we did it, and I certainly would have not by myself. Overall, even though you can do the groves by yourself, there are tons of benefits of doing them with friends. The biggest of all these benefits, I think, is the treasure grove branches. Usually, once a grove is done, it's done, and you can never do the same one again. However, upon completing a grove with friends, everybody except for the host will receive a branch. Using that branch in addition to a sapling, players can recreate that same exact grove at their base camp. But if all of your friends feel like redoing the same dungeon, and you don't want to go through the hassle of changing the host, you should know that branches can be traded through Calm at the guild hall. So if there's a dungeon you really like, one player could give the branch back to the host plants it, and you can redo that same dungeon practically over and over again, accumulating even more branches. This is especially useful if a dungeon has a rare room. So what are those rare rooms? Well, as the name suggests, they are rare, you're never guaranteed to get one, which is why it's good to have a lot of branches of them. First, we have the Aging Altar. Here you can bury a tool or weapon of your choice. You won't be able to use it for the rest of the run. Add some materials, and upon completing the grove, that tool or weapon will gain a new skill. It doesn't matter what materials you put exactly, so a fire mana won't necessarily add a fire-related effect. What's important is the amount of points given by the material, and obviously not using things that are too valuable to you, as you will lose them. You can see here a list of the skills that you have a chance of getting, and they are divided in star levels. If you bury under 500 points worth of stuff, you will randomly get one of the 1-star skills. If you have 500 points or over, you will get one of the 2-star skills, and at 1000 points, you will get a 3-star skill. Keep in mind, however, you will only get 1 skill in total. Once you've buried everything, you can keep going with the dungeon as normal, and after defeating the boss and returning to the base camp, you will get to dig up your aged tool. The effectiveness varies based on the age of the grove you just did, so you'll get better skills at a grove that's 800 years old than one that's only 100, and if you try aging something multiple times, it will not accumulate, it will simply overwrite what it had before. If you look at a tool, you will see that there's room for 3 skills in total. The first 2 you can get by default or from remakes. The third one is for the Aging Altar, and so there can only be 1 skill at a time there. Next, we have Strangeling's Room. This one is pretty straightforward. It is a room with a Strangeling chest, and inside is not any Strangeling, it is a souped up Strangeling, allowing you to increase the base stats of a specific buddy. Go to the goddess statue at the base camp in order to apply the souped up Strangeling. It should be under the Power Up tab, and each character can be powered up a maximum of 5 times. Then we have the Treasure Trove. This is simply a room with a lot of treasure chests, so you may find there are some crafting recipes, currency items like sacks of gold, and a few other valuables. This is good if you happen to find it in your grove, but it is probably the least interesting of the rare rooms. Lastly, we have the Monster House. This is a room filled with shadow monsters, stronger varieties of enemies that will provide you with mysterious slates to unlock endgame recipes, some of the materials to craft them, as well as dark fire, which is required to lift off these seals found around the world. Most of these rare rooms will clear themselves automatically shortly after you enter them, so there's no way, for example, to get into a Strangeling's room, open up a chest, and if you don't like what you get, to leave and come back, as the room will already be counted as cleared. However, you could do that with the Monster House, as this one does not clear until all the monsters are defeated. If you want to farm these materials, you could defeat most of the monsters, leave the expedition from the map screen, you get to keep all of your materials, you come back, and you do that until you've had enough. So these are the 4 rare rooms to keep an eye out for. One last thing, in regular rooms, you may stumble upon this goddess statue. This is pretty easy. She will tell you about an item that she wants, and then you will see a list of things and you'll have to select the right one. If you answer correctly, you will get some items in addition to buffs that will make you stronger for a few minutes, or until you move on to the next floor. If you fail, on the other hand, you will get a random debuff like losing your health, or being paralyzed for a few seconds. The goddess always gives you 2 hints, so the bold red text has an adjective, and the rest of what she says tells you what kind of item she wants. You can't really fail unless you don't read or you press too quickly, and if you do skip some of the dialogue by accident, you can choose to make no offering, talk to her again, and she will repeat everything. And that is pretty much everything you need to know about treasure groves in Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time. These are so much fun with friends, but still enjoyable solo, and a great way to acquire a ton of equipment that you can keep, sell, or exchange for Redux stones once you've learned how to remake. I hope you learned something new. Let me know if you've made it to 1000 years. Do you think that these groves will get expanded eventually with updates or DLC? Feel free to watch this video of 12 things I wish I knew when I started this game. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.